This man, when there's a job to do and there's a story to be told and there's breaking news, he gets on the job. And he's about to join us from the back of his Uber. We're subject to the vagaries of reception on the 101 South. It's a 35-mile drive from San Francisco Airport down to Santa Clara. But he's going to join us anyway. We're hoping to break through, and we don't have any reception issues. But he's calling it, zooming in from the back of his Uber.
He's embedded.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Pelissero, everybody.
Tommy P.
Tommy P.
You there, Tom? Good to see you.
Holding on for you here. It's a little spotty.
No, I understand. It looks like you're zooming in from space, but it's okay. It looks like you're floating without gravity.
Happy enough it was good enough to give me the thumbs up to do this back here, even though my headphones aren't working. So thank you.
It's okay.
Victor.
It looks great. Victor's good. 5 stars for Victor.
Yeah.
5 stars for Victor. Very good.
Back-to-back hair too.
You know,
Rich.
the Ubers on NFL media groups are definitely tip 25%. Do that.
Keep that ranking
Or
high.
screw it, custom and 100% tip. So that's for you, Victor. Okay. Trying to get my Uber rating up too. All right. Hey, what's happening, man? You're on your way to 49ers camp. What's with the change of pace here, or is this a change of pace? This has been going on behind the scenes. Tell me the latest on Aiyuk, Tom.
Say that it kind of changed about a week and a half ago. And Rich, when I was in studio with you last Wednesday, and I brought this up that the trade was a possibility, it was at that point that the 49ers had started having calls again a couple of days before. So there were signs that they might be moving off of their stance, which had been all along, which was since the draft, really, we're not going to trade you. You know, there's still several different ways that this can go, despite a variety of attempts by different people to throw a dart and hope it hits the right target here. We've had tweets about he's re-signing because he bro-hugged Kyle Shanahan. We've had tweets about he's been traded to the Steelers. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. The real answer is there's still different ways that this can go. I mean, I'm, about 20 minutes away from the facility right now? I mean, this is something that could go down in the next 20 minutes. It could take another 20 days. We just don't know. But it certainly seems like, based on the 49ers not doing the deal back in the spring, you know, they weren't willing to pay the price yesterday. They're certainly doesn't seem willing to pay the price today. So if Brandon Aiyuk is going to get paid, it's going to be from a different team. And that's where we stand right now, which is there are teams interested. The 49ers have granted specific teams permission to speak directly with Aiyuk's agent. You have to work out both sides of this, both the trade compensation and the contract compensation. And the player ultimately has a level of veto power here because he can say, I'm simply not going to go to these teams, or I'm not willing to take this contract. At which point there's, still a scenario out there where the 49ers say, okay, you vetoed everything. We tried. You're going to play here for $14 million this season. We're not down to the finish line yet. We're not at the goal line. We're not finalizing. Nothing's been agreed to. There's a lot of conversations still going on here, and we'll see where it all leads.
But has there been at least compensation for what the Niners would accept for an Aiyuk trade been agreed to with the Patriots and the Browns? Were you able to confirm that, Tom?
It's fair to say that the compensation has been discussed thoroughly, yes. And remember, like we were talking about last week, Rich, there's a 49ers team that is, they were just in the Super Bowl. They want to get back to a Super Bowl. So one way or another, they're going to come out of it. Getting a receiver is part of the deal, whether it's getting a receiver is part of the deal or whether it is somewhat that wide receiver group. It's just a matter of, who it ends up being. And that's all based on what deal, if any, Aiyuk and his agent can work out.
So you're not willing to confirm these trades are been agreed to with two specific teams? Is that what I'm to pick up from you, Tom? Or I think he's frozen again. I'm
here. You got me?
Now, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just trying to pin you down, if you don't mind, about, are these the two teams we're hearing, or you're not willing to pin that down?
I would say there are still active conversations. There are still active conversations with more than two teams. I would put it that way. Again, because there's different scenarios that could end up playing out with everything here. It's not merely a matter of who the 49ers have agreed with on compensation with at this point. Ultimately, Aiyuk has, again, a level of control over this that, hey, this is the best contract. This is where I want to go. Now figure out what that's going to look like. So we still have moving parts here, Rich. All the teams that have been out there, between the Browns and the Patriots, the Steelers, the Commanders, on some level, everybody has been involved. And, that's what happens when you've got a really dynamic young player who's coming off his best season in the NFL, and teams think that he can be a difference maker. But the 49ers have to get what they want, and Aiyuk has to get what he wants. And so far, those two things have not meshed together.
What about a contract that the Niners have on the table? Is that still there for him to take long term if he decides whatever other teams are offering him isn't appreciably better when combined with their Super Bowl chances for him to leave? Can he just come back home and all the pieces get put back together? Tom?
He can come back home, but it's probably going to be on the $14 million.
Wow,
unless the 49 substantially change their offer. I mean, think about this, Rich. The wide receiver market has exploded in this offseason, right? And I'm not privy, I'm not BCC'd on all the emails that have gone back and forth from negotiating here. But if the price in March were an aiming point of, let's say, $28 million, that aiming point naturally, just logically, has to be higher than that now. So the 49ers weren't willing to pay that back when other deals were getting done, when Devontae Smith got 25 a year, when Amon-Ra got 28, when Michael Pittman got 23 or 24, whatever that one ended up being. If they weren't willing to be in that bandwidth back then the idea that suddenly now with the same player, a guy they know well, and that price tag might be appreciably higher, it's hard to imagine. You never say never on any of this, Rich. We've seen the 49ers pull a rabbit out of the hat late in training camp before. I think that up until a couple of weeks ago, that's what I and a lot of other people just kind of thought was going to be the outcome here. It just hasn't sounded like they've made that type of progress. And so, here we are. I'm in a Uber or a Lyft to the stadium here on August 6th, and we don't have a resolution.
We still don't have a resolution. Okay. Before I let you go back to your ride here, couldn't help but notice that Bo Nix is third on the depth chart behind Zach Wilson and Jared Stidham as of this very moment in advance of preseason football. You want to interpret that for me, Tom?
I would say, and I'm not inside Sean Payton's head here, but certainly when you have a veteran like a Jared Stidham who has started games for you last year, who's the veteran in the room, if anything, you're going to start him in the first preseason game. You're not going to do it in a later preseason game. In other words, you're not going to name Bo Nix and say he started the first one, just like with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. You're not then going to go to Marcus Mariota, I don't think, in the second game. The first game kind of shows what your intentions are here. So for Sean Payton, regardless of what he may have already decided in his own mind, he's been very consistent publicly here that you've still got multiple quarterbacks. Those two have been taking first team reps. Zach Wilson's kind of fallen out of that rotation, but he's going to give Stidham a look that allows Bo Nix to play with and go up against second teamers in his first time out. And, quite frankly, Rich, I would not be surprised at all if Bo Nix is starting the second preseason game. That's kind of how these things tend to play out here. I know Bo Nix has been really, really impressive in training camp. I'd be borderline shocked if he's not the starter come week one, but Stidham's there for a reason. It's a guy Sean Payton liked. He gave him a whirl last year, and Stidham's at least going to get the opportunity to be the first one out of the gate coming up this week.
Okay, so just to circle back one more time here on the update, as you are on the 101 South, having just flown into San Francisco, going where the story is, heading to Santa Clara to see what is on Inside Training Camp Live for NFL Media Group. Right now, active negotiations between Aiyuk and multiple teams, more than just the two that have been identified publicly, Browns and Patriots, for a contract, and those teams still chatting with the Niners, or that part has been handled, right?
There has been permission granted to teams beyond those two, beyond the Browns and the 49ers. And there continue to be scenarios, again, because nothing is done. Until something's done, Rich, we've got different scenarios where teams that, one thing I've learned is never to trust when a team is out on a player. I mean, think back to Deshaun Watson. He had 4 teams that were down to the end. He told one team, "You're out." It was the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns came back and said, you know what? We're going to do a 5-year unprecedented $230 million fully guaranteed contract for you. And all of a sudden his mind changed. So until we get something actually finalized here, which again, regardless of what you see on social media, regardless of what you see aggregated,
All right. Hold on. Don't just keep him going. Regardless of what you've seen on social media, I can understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
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 See if he unfreezes for the 101 freeway. Let's just keep him going. Keep him going.
Great.
He's in a dead spot. Victor drove through a dead spot in the left.
John Lennon glasses.
Let's see.
On.
I know he's looking great.
He looks great.
Don't play Victor.
Oh no! So there you go. Hold on. So we lost you, and you said regardless of what you see on social media, that's where we lost you.
I'm saying regardless of what you see on social media, it gets aggregated and people repeating things back and taking guesses. Nothing is done right now. Nothing is finalized. And by finalized, I mean all parts of the agreement. It's not just working out the trade compensation. It's other things. And it's certainly possible. And of course, I saw what Matt Mayoko reported in terms of the trade compensation with the Browns and the Patriots. That doesn't necessarily mean those are the only two teams that this can get done to. So stay tuned.
And then just at the risk of you freezing again, why did the Niners, just explain one more time, why did the Niners decide to say, okay, we're just going to let them talk to other teams and run the risk of being without Aiyuk anymore, or being willing? Why did they decide to open things up a week and a half ago, Tom?
Well, part of this, again, is exploring all their options to add a receiver, too. If you can free up money on your cap and still not feel like you're significantly downgrading at that position, and you free up future assets for a player who, in all likelihood, you're going down the franchise tag road with them if you want to do that next year, or else he's walking in free agency for a third-round comp pick. This allows them to, potentially at least have certainty about what they're going to do, and also keep this from being something that runs throughout the entire course of training camp. Brandon Aiyuk has made this very public from the start. That does wear on people at times. That's not the reason that you end up potentially trading a player away. But again, this shifted a couple of weeks ago. It just didn't seem like there was any momentum toward getting a deal done in San Francisco. So the 49ers are exploring their options. And if everything comes together here, this would be the Aiyuk trade would just be one part of something broader here that the 49ers are cooking.
Tom, you're the best, man. So how many more minutes till you arrive? Because you're on the air in 26 minutes, correct?
What do we got here, Victor? About 10 more minutes here?
This is incredible.
Oh no, we're losing time. It's gonna be real close. 11 a.m. start.
So let me explain what's happening here.
Yes, I'd like to go faster. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Onward.
Victor.
So basically what's happening here, because again, I'm a veteran of this game. There's a very nervous NFL media group producer staring at his or her watch right now, looking for your lift to arrive around the corner, correct? That's what they could even have been texting you nervously throughout this entire conversation, and you may have been able to actually respond because you're an excellent phone multitasker, right? Am I wrong so far? Am I on this right now?
I proactively reached out both to Ken Field, who's the field producer, and Madison Sanders, who is the producer in Inglewood. So everybody's aware.
Okay.
Although the last text to Madison was, I should be good. Now I might text and say, maybe not.
Okay, no, don't do that yet. You're still fine, because if I'm not mistaken, it looks like you are camera ready. You not only have your NFL Media Group golf shirt on, but if I'm not mistaken, you've got the IFB earpiece attached, ready to go.
Ready to go.
I'm walking in.
Come on.
Plugging in.
My man stays ready.
Just plug in. Hair's always ready.
Yeah,
Hair's always game ready.
You know that.
Got the
4-hour
glasses.
flight from Indianapolis, but I'm all set, baby.
That is the golf shirt, right? You got the golf shirt on? It is? Okay.
I'm all set. I'm all ready to go.
I know what's going on.
I'm walking right in.
Tommy P stay ready so he ain't got to get ready.
That is correct. This is not anyone's first rodeo. All right, Tom. Good luck, Victor. Get him there safe.
He says thank you.
5 stars, custom tip, 100%.
Love you guys. See ya.
Put it on the Underhills.
Let's go. Put it on the Underhills.
The NFL Underhills.
John Cocktoson.
The NFL Underhills. Let's
Yeah, that fell off the rails.
That's great. That's very funny.
A steak sandwich and a steak sandwich. And 100% custom tip for Victor.
Victor.
That's what's happening on the 101 South right now. Come on.
Oh, my God. He gets the lobster.
Oh, man.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.